think.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Great. So what we are essentially building is we convert a normal developer documentation into interactive documentation. So for the demo, we took a company, Plaid. They make API for payments. And normally, if you are a developer and want to start exploring Plaid, you go to a documentation, you start with quick start. There's a lot of things you need to do to even start seeing the value of the API and SDK. So that documentation with Devbook would look something like this. You just launch Devbook. And when you launch Devbook, it launches a whole predefined environment where your keys are set up. Plaid has their own branding. It would run on Plaid domain. And there's app running showing how Plaid works right away. So this launch link, this actually all is working. I could choose a bank. I could sign in. And at the same time, you as a developer has access to documentation. So for example, if I want to learn more API balance endpoint, I click on the search, type, okay, why is it not typing? Oh, I think this is something to do with a overlay and zoom. This is unfortunate.
Oh no. Do you have a separate screen? Maybe do it on a second monitor.
Unfortunately, I don't, but well, it was searching the documentation and then you just have to believe me with
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
And it would open Plaid docs for that endpoint. It's integrated right into the documentation. I have my keys here, and I can change code, and play with it as a developer. And the idea is that I can share with my team, and in a product-led way, I can try Plaid and see the value of Plaid without messing up with all the environment setup and digging through guides and everything. At the same time, we would give Plaid all the important analytics of what is happening as developers being onboarded with this interactive playground. So this is our analytics dashboard, and there you can see I'm online, and here there's an activity of what I've been doing with the Quick Start app. I've been editing some files in the past, opening other files. What we will do in the future is make it much more like high fidelity. So when I search a documentation, you would see what I searched for, what was my previous state of the whole app. Was there any error? And what methods and parts of the code I was selecting, inspecting. And this way, the API company, which will be applied here, they can make like data-driven decisions about their onboardings. They can proactively help users if they have any problems. They can even upsell users if they see they are successful with their exploring. So this is the basic idea of what we are building. We launched 3 months ago. We first started with just an interactive snippets in documentation, and this is what, as we have been exploring the market, I'm talking to more and more API companies and SDK companies. We realize they struggle a lot with how they onboard developers, how they can actually show the product and make it in product-led way.
Got it. Very nice. It's a cool demo. It was different than I thought you would look like based on your description.
Yeah. What did you imagine?
I thought it would be like embedded code samples, which is the normal.
Yeah. This is what we started with. So there's a video. I can quickly share my screen again on our landing page, and it basically shows that we take normal code snippets and convert them to a interactive code snippets with Devbook, where you just like click on the things and it runs. And the technology behind it and what we do now is basically same. We still give you, this is running all in the VM that we give you as a developer, single person when you visit the documentation. But we learned that there's much bigger value in showing the whole product in like a real life example for a developer, and both for the company, where they can start, they can even build some like onboarding guides, guide developers through the code base. And what we eventually envision is that the documentation will be built around this interactive environment. So the video was like, you put interactive code into documentation, and here we are doing it the other way around. Like you have interactive playground and you integrate documentation into it, or very close to it. This is like how we are starting with this search that isn't still working.
Zoom does weird things. Okay, got it. It's pretty interesting. So a couple more questions. So you have to be logged in to use this thing?
Right now, for you would have to be logged in, but the idea is that you won't need to be logged in to Plaid. You will be logged into Devbook account.
Yeah.
And Devbook automatically creates like development keys for you. So you don't need to, with integration with Plaid, and you don't need to sign up to Plaid, but only when you want to go like deploy it into production, you go to Plaid dashboard and there you would get keys. But you can start playing around like right away without sign
Okay.
up.
So it's not like a direct replacement for docs, because a lot of times docs should be viewed without being logged in.
Yes. So,
okay.
So this, to be fair, this is something we are exploring.
Yeah.
So one idea is what I described with the Devbook account. That would be something like Devbook account flowing with you to every developer documentation you visit, and you would be just logging there all the time. Or you could still explore the app, but once you want to, for example, edit anything, we would prompt you to log in. And like,
yeah, you have a lot of options there. Yeah. And can you remind me again, so what exactly is auto-generated? Like how much of that code that we saw was auto-generated or custom, or I don't know.
yeah, got it. So this is like existing example app that Plaid has in their documentation onboarding process, that currently they would lead you away from their product. They would lead you to GitHub repository, where you have just README and you have to kind of figure things on your own or with their guides. And so what Plaid would do with our dashboard, and if they wanted to use Devbook, is they would connect this existing repository, this existing example app to Devbook. And now every time user clicks on this example app, it wouldn't lead them to GitHub repository, but it would start a VM with this example app running, and they can start experimenting there and eventually deploy it on their infrastructure, their cloud they want, and like go from just playground and like exploring things to eventually integrating Plaid into their code base, into their product.
Gotcha. Sorry, I was muted. Okay, sounds good. What's the most ambitious version of this? Where does, if everything goes right, where does this end up?
So every documentation will be interactive, and not only public documentation for API companies. API companies is something we are starting with, and SDK companies, DevTools, but even like private documentation, private API in companies for teams, which they are basically using API as a form of communication, it's a form of contract between those teams. So every documentation would have this playground as the center where you can always run things. Every code would be runnable. It would be directly connected to your code base. So for example, Stripe, they have their own documentation team that makes sure that everything is up to date. All code snippets actually work. And with Devbook, because we always launch a VM for you when you're doing something with documentation, we would essentially bring that Stripe team into your CI/CD and automate all the things that make sure that the code snippets are runnable, because we make it easy. You can just run it in the VM that we allocate for you. We make sure that the references you make in text into parts of your code base and to our existing documentation are actual references to a specific code snippet, to a specific method in your code base. So it's now the code, documentation, and the environment, the running environment, the computer, are kind of like same thing, unified in the same environment. And you as a company, API company, have can make data-driven decision about your API product, see what's working, see why developer is visiting that specific part of documentation, because maybe in the playground they had an error and now they are wondering why it doesn't work. And so Devbook would be like this floating middleware between you as a developer and the API of the company's API that makes sure that all the environments are set up. Everything you every time you visit the documentation, you have all the keys set up, and you have these quick cloud environments for prototyping that help you to bridge that like part of visiting something, browsing something in browser, and then actually implementing the API into your product.
Gotcha. It's interesting. Like a lot of companies. So are you familiar with like Documatic and other sort of similar docs startups?
Yeah, like there's like README. Documatic is actually the first one I hear for the first time. They are like automated documentation, generated documentation. Is that correct?
Yeah. So so there's Documatic, Stenography, and Midlify.
Yeah, Midlify. That I know.
And then there's some other sort of domain-specific ones like Select Stars for data science. It's interesting because all of them are tackling internal docs first, and then maybe the public one later, and you're doing the opposite. It's just I'm wondering which one is more directly useful, and it could be the internal ones for a larger set of companies, but then for you, if you're targeting API companies,
yeah,
and you're sort of a playground for them, what are your thoughts? I mean, so like, you know, I'm just mentioning these names in case you have opinions about them. I don't know if you have.
First, why we are starting with public documentation. So our bet is basically the view of the world is that if you are a successful software company, you outsource part of the functionality of your product to API companies. It's like the API companies are supply chain for software, and this will be happening increasingly more and more. And developers need to deeply understand the value of these APIs, especially when the market gets more crowded and crowded. It will be more and more easier. It will be easier and easier for developers to just quickly switch to a competitor when they are exploring their options, if something doesn't work or if something isn't clear. So lowering that time for a developer to understand the value of your API product increases your sale and conversion as an API company. And especially if we are going into the like Web3 world, but it's all about protocols, all about APIs, it will be happening more and more. So that's, and it will eventually go into that private part of documentation. But for now, our go-to-market isn't that we want to handle your documentation content. We are leaving that up to you. So we don't want to do anything like writing documentation, even though like we know this is time where companies spend a lot of time. This is something companies spend a lot of time on. But the main value they do it is for a developer to see how their product, for a developer to understand how the API product works. And when we talk to developers and when we talk to API companies, like what we hear first is we want to we want to be available to let developers try our product like instantly. We don't want to them like go through documentation, because this just destroys our onboarding. So this is much in like product-led growth, idea for the API companies, and they are struggling with it, and especially the younger ones. When there's a big difference when talking to existing API companies,
yep.
And newly created. So this is something we didn't expect, to be fair. And when we start to new API companies, they are asking us, like early startups, if we offer this analytics data so they can understand how developers interact with their code, with the SDK, so they can understand like, hey, did we created this method, actually, does it make sense for developers? Are they confused about it? And right now they didn't really have any tool to make that link. Something doesn't work for a developer in their own environment, to why did developer go to our documentation? And when we talk to a little bit like more successful companies, existing bigger companies, they don't really care. Like there are of course like companies that they care about documentation, but because their product is kind of already working, they see it as a bit more afterthought. So the difference, if I were to sum it up, was that new API companies, like new generation of API companies, is starting with documentation first, and this is like very important thing for them, #1 priority, even though they are very early. And existing companies, they focus more on like content marketing, which is like taking a shotgun and shooting into a 10-mile distance target and not even being sure if you hit the target. You are just like hoping you will hit the target developer that sometime maybe visited your documentation and was confused about something.
Got it.
Does it make sense? Does it
Yep.
answer? Yep.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Can you talk to me about just whatever you can share about traction, like users, and then maybe like individual stories, like you said, like so the younger companies.
So we launched just the interactive code snippets 3 months ago, and there we got 3 customers. One is a YC dev tool company called RunOps. One is a machine learning company, API company called Banana. Banana built their playgrounds with it, like coding playgrounds to showcase their.
Is this live? Can I see it? Is this?
Yes. Let me.
That should be a part of your demo.
Okay. Noted.
What banana? I can't just banana doesn't help.
Yes. Wait, they changed there. Oh, here it is. So
I'm clicking around on the RunOps docs, trying to find it.
Yeah, RunOps, they have it on their landing page. So it's what we offer for. They have CLI, and with us they were able to put a terminal, emulated terminal on their landing page and show how the CLI works. It just takes a bit to load. That's something what we are working on. Let me. Yeah, there it is, and it's run. And then you can click on
nice.
These two buttons up there, and when you click the button, you are actually using RunOps REPL in their CLI. So what you are doing here is like you are showing tables in their SQL. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, this should definitely be part of your your demo. Okay, this is cool.
Thank you.
So yeah, this really gives a message that like you're running a VM for each instance. This is anonymous.
If you wanted to hack it, you can. I think you can press Ctrl+C and actually get to a VM file system.
Really?
Yeah, and
is that something I should be doing, or is that?
It doesn't mind. Like if you do something bad, like the VM will just restart, and everything will work together. I just wanted to like prove you that it's actually VM.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I don't know what else I should run here, but anyway, it's pretty funny. Okay, this I love this. This is good.
And like what we are doubling down is like exactly this, but in more like onboarding, more guided way. That's what the demo I showed you is about, like showing you the product, guiding you through the product. Here it is like just a terminal, but we want to be like the full suite of interactivity for API products and connected to the documentation, so developers can just like hop in and try everything. With Banana, yeah, it's ready. If you press run code now, up there, it will give you a description of what's on the image.
Okay, this is some kind of machine learning thing.
Yeah. Basically, it's still running in the VM, and the code you can write here. You can edit it. You can edit the Node.js code here, and
I'm just gonna give it a random image to see if see what happens.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's see what happens. I don't know.
This still should work, I hope.
Yeah. Not bad. Okay. Demo carrot. Oh, okay. All right.
So this is their way of how they set up.
Look at that. Skiing. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. So like this really makes it interactive.
Yeah. So everything is running in the VM. They have and Banana could pre-install or prepare the whole VM on there, and so you don't have to set up anything. You just like really see their product. Like this is their product, their code. Banana Dev package.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, very impressive. I was going to ask you, how is this different from Postman? Do you know how Twitter's docs work?
I'm like I browse the docs, but I'm not sure what you are specifically. What do you mean?
Twitter's docs are very reliant on Postman. So let's say, so I'm saying this is an opportunity for you. I think it was just very hard to read. So let's say I want to get a tweet lookup. They have quick start, sample code, run in Postman, or try with API Explorer. The quick start, a lot of this.
Not really that quick.
Yeah, not that quick. And then sample code is just a GitHub that is just very messy. And then run in Postman, you have to do this nonsense.
Oh yeah, and here are the collections where you
can. What am I looking at? I have no idea.
I have this experience. We are also not like much fan of it.
And then they just launched this one, the API Explorer.
And yeah, this is like the idea of this. The Explorer is kind of like what we are building, in a sense that we want to let you try the product, right?
Yeah.
With us, the big difference between us and the Postman is we give you the full picture of how you could use the API.
With real code. Yes. I mean, the problem is, you have to pick a language. This one is language agnostic because it's just HTTP. I see where you're coming from with the whole quick example apps. You would have to pick something, but yours is Python. Like people have to write this, right? Someone has to write this.
Yeah, currently, that's correct. Like I don't have a good answer for that. This is something like we are exploring. To be fair, we haven't heard from customers when talking to them like this would be a problem. They're more like telling us, hey, we have a lot of apps that we want to run with you.
You have a lot of apps?
Yeah, like this example quick start apps.
Okay.
That they want to show to users.
Okay, all right. Can we talk about team? Is it just you?
Yeah, my co-founder and I.
Okay.
We've known each other for since high school for more than 11 years. Previously, we are interested in the like documentation sector and developer productivity a lot. So previously, we built a search engine for developers that got over 4,000 weekly active users, 15,000 developers total, and it was growing about like 16 to 20% weekly. The problem there was like we used Reddit for our growth, which worked like tremendously well. And the problem was that monetization and the solo developers
ads.
Yes, probably. But monetization and churn. Like I think churn we would eventually figure it out by going deeper to the coding editor and being more integrated into the coding editor and giving proactive suggestions to the developer. We were more like kind of like a raycast tool or spotlight tool that you had to hit a shortcut to see us, so developers kind of forgot it we existed and just defaulted to Google. But
what was the name of it? I just want to have a look.
It was also named Devbook.
Okay.
It's like we pivoted. Oh, there's a product hunt. I will send you a link in a second.
No, I found the Reddit post, and
Yeah.
I could probably find the product hunt very easily.
Yeah, we had a Reddit post with over 1,000 upvotes on Python, like out of nowhere. We just posted it there, and people were telling us that they thought it's an ad.
Really?
It was
because it went to the top. Yeah.
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 And the idea was always to make it easier for developers to just use the product. Don't spend time in searching everything, documentation. Eventually, yeah, of course, you will want to go to documentation to get a better understanding and how everything works, but you want to make sure it's all interactive. You can try everything. You see how it works in big picture, so you can create this mind map what the product actually is.
Yeah.
And like this is a weirdly big problem for companies. When we are making demo for companies, like there's even the code snippets on their documentations, like they are old. It just straight up doesn't work, and they don't even know it because they don't have. When we ask like CTO, hey, do you know that, or like it's a smaller startup, so it should be even easier for them to make sure they know it, because there isn't that much of overhead. They have no idea of knowing it doesn't work. Like there isn't system unless they build something themselves, and we've seen like very complicated systems for companies to build. To make sure their code snippet works. Like when you plug in, eventually when you will be able to plug in Devbook into your CI/CD, we will just spin up the same VM that a developer visiting your docs would have, and just run every code snippet that you have there. And we would be connected to your code base, so there would be like a link in time between the commit and the documentation and the running environment where developer can try things.
Yeah. Do you think that? What do you think about Replit?
So the problem with the replays is that, and code sandboxes is that, so first of all, it's branding and domains, like that's like low-hanging things. And second, it's a whole another system that is very hard to manage and keep up to date. So when they embedded replays into the documentation, it's, for example, old version of their SDK. Because they forgot to update it, and then you need to keep several replets or code sandboxes, manage several code sandboxes separately. Each one has to have their own SDK version if you want to support like at least 3 last SDKs or something like that. That's one problem. Another problem is that
wait, what? Don't you have the same problem? Like what's so different about yours?
So the idea in the future is that you will use Devbook in GitHub and plug it into your CI/CD, for example, GitHub Actions.
Okay.
And when you change your SDK version, you can just update all the VMs or the targeted VMs that our developers using, like Devbook VMs that are using. So the Devbook environments, you just like update the SDK in our VM environment, if that makes sense. Like use our CLI tool and control how it looks like. And another problem is that you don't really know what's happening in the Replit or code sandbox as an API company.
Analytics.
Yes.
Okay.
And what I want to say, the last thing was that the like predefined environments and are possible that you create like you either create a starting template or like finish the whole thing. With us, we give you the whole control over the VM and control over the like onboarding process. You will be able to create this whole guides, and see like, hey, this developer has finished guide, they are successful with our product, or this developer failed because they had this error. We should proactively reach out to support or to offer them support.
Got it. Okay. Sounds all very good. It seems like you're not sure, like you have 3 design partners or initial customers, and you're onboarding more. You're also fundraising. Sounds very early. So I'm curious, like, what was your YC metric?
YC metric? What do you mean?
You did YC, right?
No, we only we have like the run-ups is a YC company that's our customer. Yeah. We have few YC interviews, but
Got it. Okay. Oh, okay. You went through Pioneer.
Yes.
All right. Got it. No, I just like to ask YC companies what their metric was, because they're supposed to pick one and then make that number go up.
For us, like, it's definitely revenue, and what we were searching for in the last like 2-3 weeks was that go-to market.
Yeah.
So because what we were offering previously and kind of still are on our website is like, hey, this is the one line on your, add this one line on your front end, and we will give you the whole computer, and you can control it, like this whole VM, and every visitor on our website will get it. And that's very general. Yeah. It's like powerful, but like, what should I do with it? So that's why we are doubling down now on this example apps that we think we finally discovered when talking to customers, possible customers. They are really excited about it when we show them the demo, and now moving to an actual product that we are building.
Yeah, very cool. Where is the VM running? Is it just AWS?
On our servers, on our infrastructure, on GCP.
Okay, and then what are your thoughts on pricing?
In the future, we will probably charge per hosted app, and then we will have some pay-as-you-go pricing on certain features. For example, analytics will be pay-as-you-go. Then we also want to have probably pay per seat on some parts when we are interacting with our dashboard. When we want to do something with analytics, and also when you want to change how the VM looks like, you need to plug it into probably your CI/CD on GitHub, let's say. So we also are considering that the pricing there would be like you have a limited amount of how many people can interact with it or something like that. But like the base point is we will price per example app you want to run. And then analytics is, as you scale, we charge you more with analytics.
Yeah, got it. Okay, sounds reasonable. All right, so yeah, I've asked you a lot of questions. I was just wondering if you have anything that you wanted to ask me or my feedback.
I was mostly like really interested your general feedback. What do you think about this, especially from you as a point of view, like developer experience, and yeah.
I think so, kind of my wow moment was at the end with the runbook and runoffs and banana. Like being able to run that code is good, but then it made me think about Replit, where I could probably do the same thing. So then then the value proposition there is that it's integrated in your CI/CD. So there's a lot here. There's a lot left to do for you to make yourself stand out. Doesn't exist yet. Like it hasn't been built. I think the analytics is interesting, but at the same time, again, like it needs to be built out so that it's useful. Because right now you just have a bunch of logs.
Yeah.
And then also, sometimes developers don't like that you're looking at how they how they look at stuff. But I think it's okay. I don't think it's an issue. I think for you, it's just making it useful for the companies that are paying you. So that would be the issue. I really like I told you, if you can make the Twitter API docs better, then I think you have a case to talk to Twitter. I almost want to refer you to the person who does, I think his name is Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who this is?
No.
He's the representative of the Twitter API platform.
Mm-hmm. Gabriel Spiel?
Yeah. So yeah, reach out to them and then see if you can sign Twitter as a customer. I think that'd be pretty huge.
Yeah, that would be nice.
They are looking because like they know it sucks. I've complained to them before, and they're trying to do something with Glitch, but it's not really as good as Runbook as Devbook. So I think it's something that is useful for you to explore. For me personally, it's a bit too early stage right now to get involved, but that may not be the case for other people. But yeah, that's my feedback.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Besides Gabriel, do you have anyone else on the mind with whom we should talk to?
Oh man, I mean, Superbase I can introduce to you. So
yeah. We showed the demo to and they were pretty excited about it very early when it was just like code snippets.
Okay.
We plan to like reach out to them again when it's more like very specific thing like this example apps.
The problem with Superbase is they don't need you. They already built their customized code snippet. So you need to catch people a little bit earlier in their documentation. Airtable would be really interesting if you can get them. Just because like, these are the big names. I in my experience, like, I've very much been like, you can go after 100 small names, right? I've never heard of RunOps. I've never heard of Banana. But if you get Airtable, like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's like definitely, yeah, we it's like strategy but definitely better for fundraise. Eventually we think like we will grow with the smaller startups as they grow.
Yeah. But this is kind of how you do sales.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're short on time. But I just those are my quick thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It was great meeting you.
Yeah, it's great meeting you. Hopefully you can get some traction there, and look forward to seeing you out there.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.